Beautiful women can't afford to be humble. Being humble, being the good girl, being nice to everyone is exactly how you're going to end up losing your energy, missing out on the success that you deserve, and it will set you up for being manipulated again and again and again until you have no beauty left, because all of that beautiful energy was literally ciphered from you, from people that constantly tells you, oh, you need to humble yourself, you need to be nicer, you need to be a good girl, because they do not like the fact that you can do better, because that means you're not going to be around them anymore. The reason why being a beautiful and nice woman is a combination that is absolutely dangerous for that beautiful woman is because over and over again, society will mistake your kindness for weakness. And being kind as a beautiful woman actually is a weakness. Being kind to the people that deserve it is a good thing. Being kind to people that pour right back to you is a good thing. But treating everyone how you would want to be treated when you're a beautiful woman is making yourself more available to people that are never going to reciprocate. Women are taught from the day they're born that they need to be nice, they need to be plausible. We are also taught that we need to value brains over beauty. They don't tell us this because they want us to do better for ourselves and to be smart and make smarter choices. They tell us this because when we're taught as women growing up that brains matter more than beauty, they actually tell us that brains matter more than beauty to make sure that we stay in our place, which is serving them, men. It's essentially trying to make someone believe that they're doing something righteous, they're doing something good, but in reality, you're just making them jump through hoops, you're making them do things. When men say brains matter more than beauty, they're drawing on our need to prove ourselves. When they see beautiful women, they're like, she's probably just a pretty face. Or they're like, oh, you wear a lot of makeup? Are you sure there's even any brains behind that? You can't be smart. A lot of women would be eager to be like, oh, yeah, of course I'm smart. Let me show you how smart I am. And the men will be like, okay, bet. I'm going to give you a bunch of tasks. I'm going to give you a bunch of things to do so that you can show me how much you're really worth. And apart from the phrase brains over beauty making us more subservient, because we want to prove how smart we actually are, that we're both brains and beauty. You know what it also does? Brains over beauty also means the time you spend on performing labor, skills, efficiency for us, that's the only thing that has value. Not beauty in itself, aka women in themselves, aka art, expressing yourself, putting effort into yourself. The only thing that is valued is actually what you do for others, how you show how smart you are. Because the thing is, a woman who's smart enough to understand the power of her beauty, being comfortable with letting people call her a blonde, dumb woman, someone who doesn't understand what's going on. A woman who's comfortable playing dumb is actually the smartest woman. Because this woman understands that the whole brains matter more than beauty is here to make her perform. It's here to make her do more. And she doesn't need the validation of showing people that she's smart. She knows this already. So she's completely comfortable with saying, doesn't matter. I'm a dumb woman. I'm a blonde, dumb woman. When you get comfortable with not needing to prove yourself, understanding that you're enough as you are, you're essentially saying that you're willing to play the game, but you understand that the rules can be literally used to your benefit instead. This is why I always say that one of the things that will make women more powerful is not necessarily going out and telling everyone how smart they are. It's being more comfortable existing within the sphere of just being a woman who expresses herself, a woman who does what she wants to do, a woman who does her makeup, a woman who puts effort into her outfits, a woman who shows up for herself every single day, regardless, even if she's at home. And more than that, a woman who is comfortable with visibility. How to be anti-humble is letting yourself be visible, even if it means being visible for being vain, for what men might consider vain. Because you know what? The only thing that patriarchy or men considers vain, considers bad, considers stupid, the stuff that does not serve them, the stuff that does not give them what they want. Of course, they're gonna call you stupid and, oh, you have like 10 pounds of makeup on your face. Because you putting energy into yourself is not gonna get them energy. That's why they want to gaslight you into putting less energy into yourself, making yourself less visible, and making yourself more present in their life. This is exactly why. If you've ever walked down the street or been catcalled down the street and some guy comes up and is like, oh, you're so beautiful. I've been in situations like that where it's like, oh, you can't take a compliment just because I'm like keeping my eyes straight on the road. I'm not going to give no energy. A lot of men are baffled by the fact that you're willing to put yourself out there, but you're not doing it for men. You're doing it for yourself. It's like when women get plastic surgery or they want to get a little something done, which is their right. The men will get angry because they feel that women are doing it because they want to be more attractive to men. Like, no, they want to wake up in the morning and look at themselves and be like, I want to go out the door. I want to show up. That's why whenever a woman does anything, she puts on makeup. She gets her lips done. She changes her hair color. She does anything that implies that she thinks and puts effort into herself. And she's not going to just play by the rules of being a low maintenance natural girl who doesn't do anything. Suddenly, ooh, oh, who do you really think you are? And this only starts the whole, who do you think you are? Wow, brains matter more than beauty. You're wearing a lot of makeup. Ooh, hating. That only starts when you're actually about to ascend way up the mountain of self-growth. The people you've been hanging around or the people that are down where you used to be, they get really, really intimidated and get really scared when they see the fact that you're about to ascend up the mountain. Remember, when you crawl up a mountain, suddenly you're not just in the crowd, you're on the mountain, and suddenly you become very, very visible. When you as a woman step into visibility, step into the comfortability of showing yourself off, being like, I am that girl and I'm going to show up regardless. I'm going to show up for myself. Suddenly you're the little thing on the mountain that everyone can see, because first and foremost, you're raised and you are also no longer among everyone. This is why people start screaming louder, men especially, because they're not willing to climb the mountain with you. They expect for you to take them with you. They expect you to carry them. Second of all, they do not like the fact that you have the courage to go up that mountain. You're essentially saying, by climbing that mountain and saying, you know what, I'm going to be visible. I'm going to do my thing. I'm not going to have interactions with people that are not going to do things for me. When you get to that point as a woman, you start ascending that mountain of saying, okay, if you're just saying, oh, you're beautiful, what is that doing for my life? Nothing. Suddenly that means that you're not just eating crumbs. You're not just taking whatever comes your way. You're not giving energy just because someone was like, oh, you look so nice. That means you have more energy to climb. And this makes the men extremely scared, because you know what this means? It means that in order to get you, they either need to rise to your level or they need to tear you down. And they do not want to rise to your level. So what they realize is that you are about to kill off the version of yourself that makes you more available to them. The humble version of yourself, the nice girl. They don't want you to kill that version of yourself, because that means that they do not have access to you. That means that they can't tell you what to do. That means that they can't use the brains matter more than beauty argument, because you're above that. You know that brains and beauty go hand in hand. But the more you go down that mountain to tell people, I know I can do, when they shout at you, are you sure you can do that? Oh, are you really sure? The more you tire yourself out. And that's what a lot of women have a tendency to do. We get a little up the mountain. We're trying to gain some momentum. We start pouring energy into ourselves. We start doing something about our looks. Like we do our hair, we do our nails, whatever. And we climb a little bit. We're like, okay, I got some momentum and climbing up the mountain. Suddenly you hear the shrieks from the men down here, the people, whoever you were around before. They're like, no, you shouldn't do that. It's so dangerous. Are you really sure you can do that? Wow. I don't know if that's good. Brains matter more than beauty, and you got a lot of makeup on your face. They're doing this because they want you to climb down the mountain, go down to them and tell them, no, actually, brains and beauty go together. No, actually, I'm not wearing that much makeup. No, actually, I'm actually trying to improve myself. They want you to argue because that's you giving them energy. And then when you see in front of the mountain again, you're like, ugh, I got to go up that again. And the more times you go up and the more times you go down to tell people, to make people know that, oh, I'm actually not trying to be a bad person. I'm a good person. Every time you try to reassure people that you're a good person, or you try to explaining yourself in itself, you will literally make yourself easier to manipulate, and you will have a harder time climbing that mountain, girl. The nice girl mentality, I want to be humble. I want to show people that I got them. It's not going to get you to a point where you can actually help people that you want to help. Like friends, family, people that truly deserve your help. People around the world, whoever you want to help. Going back and arguing with people that do not believe in you, that are telling you, are you sure you can do that? I could never do that. It's not taking you anywhere. It's just humbleness. They tell us we need to be humble. They tell us we need to be nice because being nice and being humble means we are in servitude. That means that we're trying to please someone else. That means that we're focusing on someone else, not ourselves. Because every time we try to focus on someone else, we're called vain, we're called bad, we're called superficial, we're called mean, we're called big-headed. Ooh, who do you think you are? So of course we're going to feel guilty. Of course we're going to be like, oh my God, I don't want to seem like a bad person. I don't want to be a bad person. I'm going to go down and I'm going to tell everyone, I'm not a bad person. Don't worry, I'm not a bad person. You need to get extremely comfortable with the idea of being the bad person. You're not a bad person. You are not. If you feel the need to prove yourself, you're not a bad person. Wanting people to understand you is not something to feel guilty about. The only issue is that people won't. And when you try to make people understand you, you will humble yourself. And when you humble yourself, you let people walk all over you. And then they'll tell you, oh, you're lying down. It's going to be really hard for you to get up. Then you get up and you're like, I can show you that I can get up. And you go up and climb that mountain and they're like, oh, are you sure you can make it all the way up? You go back down that mountain and you tell them in their face, I can go up that mountain. Instead of continuing going up that mountain. Instead of continuing your growth. Instead of moving past the uncomfortability of people telling you that you're vain. People telling you that you're mean. People telling you, wow, who do you think you are? You're really all that? Yeah. You should think that you're all that. If you think that thinking you're all that is a bad thing, if you think that being successful, if you think that having money, if you think that anything that is something that you're maybe possibly very thrilled about if you had it in your life, if you think all of those things are bad things, or you're like, oh, I don't want to share with people that I have these things, you're around the wrong people. You're around people that will always try to humble you because they will never be comfortable unless they make this journey on their own, but that's not your journey to start for them. They will always try to humble you, especially when you're very, very beautiful. Because they see that you already have inherent power and they do not want you to realize this power. And being beautiful does not mean looking like a Victoria's Secret model. Being beautiful means being a creative person, being a person who can put effort into yourself, being a person who is willing to grow, willing to learn, intuitive, creative, have a sparkle in their eye. Being beautiful can also, of course, mean that you are someone who is visually appealing. But the thing is, when you grow up that mountain, when you suddenly realize, you know what, I am all that, when you go up that mountain, you will become more physically beautiful because you are realizing the worth of your inner beauty. Physical beauty and inner beauty go hand in hand. And again, it does not mean that you have to look like a Victoria's Secret model. That is not the only signal of beauty we have out here in the world. But as you climb up that mountain and you realize, you know what, I am all that. And you get comfortable with the silence of being alone, of having to do things by yourself, of having to climb the mountain on your own, completely on your own. You'll realize, I have a lot of energy. And that is the beauty. I have a lot of energy. The energy that I usually use to try to explain things to people. The energy that I usually use to try to nag at people because they don't understand. The energy I usually use to get people to try to accommodate me. The energy I usually use because I want people to understand me. Whatever energy that is you're using to make sure that people around you are okay, which is bonkers to try to make sure that everyone's okay around you. They have to make sure of that themselves. They're people. They know what they're doing. When you realize that and you were like, okay, I'm going to be completely alone for a couple of months. I'm going to not talk to my friends. I'm going to not talk to my family. I mean, unless absolutely necessary. I'm going to focus on me. I'm not going to date. I'm going to go up this alone. I'm going to put my effort in. You'll realize, first and foremost, it's going to be hard because you no longer have voices to soothe you. You no longer have voices that are going to scare you into the comfortability of hate, because hate is comfortable for a lot of people. Now you have to live with your intuition and you have to be on your own with going up the mountain. And you have to keep pushing and keep pushing. But you'll be like, wow, I have a lot of energy that I usually spend on people. You're probably usually in self-love debt. You're usually giving people energy, giving people your time, your efforts, talking to people where you feel depleted after. And of course, that's going to be like, okay, now I want to go home and sleep. I don't want to do anything. And you think that might be standard. But then suddenly when you're going on your own journey and you suddenly find yourself bored, frustrated, You find a lot of emotions coming up. You find a lot of things where you're like, I don't even know what to do. I find myself restless. That's because that energy that you usually spend on other people, trying to please them, trying to make sure that they're okay, trying to not be the guilty person, that energy you now have, that energy you now hold. And now the real test is not spending it. The real test is reinvesting it. It's kind of like if you're trying to invest in the stock market. Don't worry, I'm not going to go all technical. Every time you're trying to invest, it's like, oh, but I would rather have this makeup or this hair product or whatever. The little money you could have spent investing that could have become a lot of money, you ended up spending on clothes or stuff that's not really going to give you as much back. I will though say that investing in your beauty is a whole different category. So maybe the hair products and stuff was not really the best example, but generally, like, you might be out there spending money on stuff that is you're gonna forget about in a week. But if you spent the same $20 putting them in your investment account, maybe that could have turned into a lot of money. The energy you invest into yourself can actually accumulate and turn into more energy, and that more energy, which can also be money, because money is energy, that's why it's called currency. You can invest in all the things you want, and then you can invest all the money you want into whatever it is you want, like stuffed animals, because stuffed animals rock. It's all about priorities. And a lot of times we've been taught as women to never prioritize anyone but others. And if we prioritize others, one day we're going to get some great big payback. Society is going to give us a kiss on the forehead and tell us, oh my God, you did so good. You graduated Humble University. And then you're going to go out into the world and be like, I'm a good person. That's not going to happen. You're going to have to pick up yourself and say, my energy is worth more. And you're going to have to climb that mountain and have to doubt yourself. You're going to have to climb up that mountain, go through the period of where you get up that mountain. Eventually, there's going to be a period where you're not going to be able to hear anyone, because the further you get up the mountain, eventually the sound is going to become muffled of the people trying to scream at you like, oh my God, you should humble yourself. Who do you think you are? You're not that pretty. You're only a 3 out of 10. When you get up that mountain, get up the mountain. Ain't no mountain high enough. When you get up that mountain, eventually, like, you're going to get to a point you can't hear people anymore. Like, they're so far down. That is going to scare your nervous system, because it's going to be like, oh, I'm actually on the verge of breakthrough here. Like, if I go any further up, I'm not going to be able to hear them. I'm not going to be able to see them. This is when we're going to be most likely to go back down, to be able to hear the comfort of hate, the comfort of humble, the comfort of guilt, because it's what we're used to. It's what our brain is literally programmed to like how flies like sugar or bees like sugar. I don't know. Eventually we get to a point, that's the tipping point. When we go beyond that, it'll be dead silent. It'll be like, it's you and your mind. And you will realize, I'm telling you, you will realize how much power you actually have in your mind, because you've let yourself be with your mind. You've let yourself date yourself. You've let yourself pamper yourself. You've let yourself tend to your inner child. You've let yourself say, okay, now's not the time to be around with everyone. And whoever is going to be there for me in the long run, they'll follow me. Whatever will be, will be. I'm going to have full certainty that when I get to that top of the mountain, whoever's going to be with me, whoever I need in my life, they're going to be there. But if they're not needed in my life, they're not going to come along. And it's not my job to take them along with me, because that's me trying to control the situation. We're always trying to control situations. We're always trying to make sure that everyone is good, make sure that everything is fine, asking everyone if everything's fine. If you're the type of person who asks people if everything's fine all the time, this is dangerous. This is bad. You need to spend more time alone. This is why, if you're a beautiful woman, you cannot be humble. You cannot subscribe to the idea that being a good person will work out. Being a good person, first and foremost, means being good to yourself and understanding that you need to go through a journey by yourself. It's called self-growth for a reason. Not you and me growth, not us and them growth. It's called self-growth. When you understand the notion of self-growth, that it's a journey you have to take on your own, it might be slightly uncomfortable, because to get to a point where you're comfortable, you need to go through a little bit of a path where things are a little rocky. Because whatever it is you've never seen before, it's going to be scary. Doesn't mean it's going to be worse. It just means that it's going to be scary. Usually it's actually better. Excitement and fear are actually emotions that mimic each other. One is just expecting something bad. One is expecting something good. None of them can predict the future. But you will realize that much more about your own intuition, your own feelings, your own growth, when you realize the power of your beauty and say, I'm beautiful. I'm a beautiful person. I deserve more. I deserve to be able to relax in my beauty. I deserve to be able to take care of my beauty. I deserve to be my beauty. I deserve to exist as beautiful because I am enough. And in order for me to be, I first need to do. I need to climb. And it's going to be alone. But that is so much better than humbling yourself for people that will always root for you to do worse. Beautiful women can't afford to be humble.